Have you ever wanted to know which chemicals are the most toxic to humans? These aren't just hazardous. A single slip-up may destroy whole towns. Stay tuned as we compile a list of the top 10 most hazardous substances that you should be aware of in the year 2025. Believe us when we say that the top spot is shocking. You won't believe it. If you want to know how dangerous these chemicals are and why you should be cautious around them, you should keep watching. We'll jump right in. Number 10, ricin. You might be surprised to know how common the lethal poison ricin. This toxin can kill with just a little speck. Don't let its simple origin deceive you. It's made from the castor bean plant. If swallowed, inhaled, or injected, just 1 milligram can be fatal. Within 36 hours of the onset of ricin poisoning symptoms, fever, nausea, and stomach pain, the condition quickly progresses to organ failure and death. Ricin blocks the body's protein production pathway, rendering cells incapable of surviving. Because it is both easy to produce and hard to detect until it is too late, ricin is a particularly terrible poison. A number of high-profile assassination attempts have included this poison, demonstrating its lethal potential. The fact that it is both readily available and extremely lethal makes it a serious concern. Number 9, VX nerve agent. One of the deadliest chemical weapons ever made is VX. Due to its invisibility, lack of smell, and lack of color, it poses a significant threat. The blockage of impulses between the brain and muscles is the precise mechanism by which this nerve toxin disrupts the operation of the nervous system. Exposure to VX causes rapid and lethal symptoms, including nausea, vertigo, twitching muscles, convulsions, and paralysis. The victim will suffocate within minutes as the muscles that control respiration become paralyzed. Even at very low concentrations, VX can be fatal. A single drop is all it takes to kill. The fact that VX is invisible to the human eye and that an exposed individual may not exhibit symptoms of poisoning until it is too late is the most concerning aspect of this substance. There are stringent limitations on the use of VX in combat, but it is still a dangerous weapon that might be misused. Number 8, sarin. Sarin is a very lethal toxin. Even a little exposure can kill within minutes. Similar to VX, this odorless and colorless gas is a nerve toxin that blocks the transmission of signals between the brain and the muscles. Sarin triggers an abrupt assault on the neurological system when breathed or absorbed through the skin. Seizures and paralysis may follow symptoms of disorientation, shortness of breath, and pressure in the chest in an exposed person. Quick demise ensues in the absence of prompt medical intervention. Because of how fast sarin travels through the air, it poses a particularly serious threat in densely populated places where it might infect a large number of people very rapidly. Many people have died as a result of sarin strikes, and the consequences of chemical warfare are far-reaching and terrible. Sarin is one of the most terrifying compounds on our list due to its potential for mass deaths and its ease of weaponization. Number 7, polonium-210. The radioactive material polonium-210 is both difficult to track down and fatally dangerous. Harmful effects of this substance can be felt even at low concentrations when inhaled. Polonium-210 causes radiation, organ failure, and death even at low doses. When it gets inside, it starts damaging cells, tissues, and organs with its alpha radiation. Polonium-210 poses a significant threat since it remains undiscovered for several days, if not weeks. Infamous murder of Russian spy Alexander Litvinenko involved it. After consuming tea contaminated with polonium-210, Litvinenko was poisoned. The radioactive material progressively killed him over 3 weeks. Polonium-210 is a slow but deadly murderer since it is almost impossible to detect until symptoms appear. The radioactive nature of the chemical makes its removal from the body an insurmountable task, and even low exposure levels can have devastating consequences, leading to chronic health issues. Number 6, cyanide. The world is familiar with cyanide as one of the most notorious poisons, and rightfully so. The mechanism of action involves preventing the body's cells from utilizing oxygen, leading to the shutdown of organs. Almost immediately, you will see effects. Death from inhalation of cyanide can happen in as little as 1 minute. When consumed, it might take anywhere from a few minutes to an hour to cause death. The mining of gold and the manufacturing of synthetic rubber are just two of the many businesses that make use of cyanide, which can be found in solid, liquid, or gaseous form. Another chemical weapon that has been utilized for the purpose of carrying out mass killings in the past. Particularly hazardous is the gaseous form of cyanide, due to its rapid spread and potential to inflict extensive casualties. Additionally, cyanide's use in the gas chambers during the Holocaust has brought it widespread notoriety. Even though it can cause serious harm, cyanide is nonetheless easy to get and even harder to detect once it's in the body. It's a sobering reminder of how quickly life-threatening chemicals may be. Number 5, dioxins. The dioxins are a class of compounds that are produced as a result of using specific chemicals in production or in the combustion of trash. Their tenacity is the thing that makes dioxins so harmful. They remain in the environment indefinitely once introduced. Dioxins are persistent pollutants that can enter the body through the food chain and contaminate the ground, water, and air. Cancer, liver damage, reproductive disorders and developmental delays in children are just some of the severe health consequences that can result from long-term exposure to dioxins. It may take years for the impacts of dioxin exposure to become apparent since the chemicals are so harmful. Even modest levels of exposure can create long-term health problems. Worse yet, dioxins can be passed on from mothers to their children through breast milk, meaning that they impact not just the exposed person, but also generations to come. Dioxins have a long-lasting effects on ecosystems and species, which is quite concerning for the environment. Number 4. Batrachotoxin. Golden poison dart frog is one of several amphibian species that naturally contain the chemical batrachotoxin. A modest quantity of this poison is enough to kill a huge animal. Paralysis and death can be caused by batrachotoxin because it disrupts the communication between nerves and muscles. An evolutionary protection mechanism against predators, the golden poison dart frog carries this lethal toxin. Batrachotoxin is an example of the potency of chemicals found in nature, even though it is not a chemical that people typically come into contact with. The fact that humans are easily fooled by the frog's bright colors makes it a particularly dangerous predator, and this fact should be cause for grave concern. A chemical like this serves as a sobering reminder that things made in nature aren't always safer than those we make in lab. Number 3. Mustard gas. A chemical weapon, mustard gas, also called sulfur mustard, can inflict blisters on the skin and mucous membranes. Mustard gas is extremely harmful, leading to serious burns, blindness, and respiratory system damage. The skin, eyes, and lungs can all experience blistering and burning when mustard gas assaults the body's cells. In extreme cases, it can cause long-term respiratory problems. Inhalation can lead to permanent lung scarring, making breathing difficult for the remainder of one's life. Mustard gas exposure can cause cancer in certain people, even after years have passed. The terrible effects of mustard gas make it a weapon of mass terror during World Wars I and II. Not only does it inflict physical harm, but the indelible anguish it produces also leaves a profound psychological mark. Number 2. Botulinum toxin. Because of its usage in Botox injections, botulinum toxin is both one of the most well-known and one of the most poisonous compounds in the world. Pure botulinum toxin, on the other hand, is a lethal biological weapon. Paralysis sets in when the Clostridium botulinum bacteria's product prevents nerve signals from reaching the muscles. Person's breathing muscles, among others, become paralyzed when exposed to botulinum toxin. The end consequence is asphyxia. A small amount is enough to kill when exposed to botulinum toxin, which is one of the reasons why it is so terrifying. Its capacity to kill silently has made it a terrifying weapon in biological warfare. Despite its medicinal uses, its pure form is extremely poisonous and may kill a person. Number 1. Nuclear weapons. The most lethal chemical weapon that humanity has encountered so far is the nuclear bomb. Massive devastation, radiation illness, and permanent environmental damage can be caused by a single nuclear bomb, which has the potential to destroy entire cities in an instant. Everything in its path is destroyed by the mass fireball that is created by the initial blast of a nuclear explosion. Cancers and other terrible illnesses are still plaguing survivors as a result of the bomb's radiation. Worryingly, radiation from nuclear bombs can cause birth abnormalities and genetic changes that can last for decades. Although nuclear weapons were not deployed in battle after World War II, they continue to represent a significant danger. The potential for their usage is a major concern for humanity due to the immense damage they may do. They are considered the ultimate weapon of mass destruction. There are so many dangerous chemicals in the world. We must be very careful and vigilant to avoid them. We appreciate you watching all the way through. If you were enlightened by this video, please subscribe for more incredible videos like this one. Like it and share it with your friends so that everyone can learn.